What is it to be a human being? Am I but a reflection cast into the lives of other persons? Will no one look at me, into my eyes? Will I be like all who have lived too long, a being to be tolerated or bypassed or humored? Can no one see that within my soul I exist, the person who loved and grieved and was? I too have hungered, been tormented by passion, known nice thrust of pain. Stir the ashes of my being, blow tenderly to bring the flames to light. Bring me to soft fire, that I may still give warmth to others.
Donna Home Care is a not-for-profit organization that cares for the elderly in their own homes so that they can be spared an institutional setting whenever possible.
I remember when I first knew a granddaughter was born.
When I first met Ethel, Ethel was no longer able to coordinate her own care. And her daughter really felt the need for someone who would manage the whole thing and make sure that Ethel had what she needed.
My father was born in 1855 and my mother in 1857.
Her life was not an easy one. She was raised in a very loving family. She became a school teacher. She went to college. That was her great ambition. She had her 5 children and was left to raise them on her own. These were the days before there was any aid to families with dependent children, and Ethel worked steady to keep her children in the very bare basics, which they shared and enjoyed together. Ethel doesn't become depressed easily. It was very easy to make Ethel laugh, and very easy to share in that laughter. But she told some hard stories. Doug is going to be working here for the first time this afternoon, and I thought before the two of you went over his routine with him in terms of where Ethel keeps things and how she likes things done, the fact that this is an extraordinary situation, the fact that Ethel is approaching death, means that there's a large emotional component to the job, as there always is with working with any client, but still this kind of crisis, that brings up a lot of feeling. And I was thinking that Eloise and Debbie could talk about their experience of being here now and how they work with Ethel and what her needs are and how they go about meeting them.
Things have really, they're up and down always in the the death cycle. You can have your good days and you can have your real low days. And there are days where she thought she was going to die just that very day, and she's called up everybody and told them. And you have to kind of be able to go with those moments and not, because with all the talk about afterwards, she gets real self-conscious that she overacts some of this. Mm-hmm. So you kind of have to, you act as the in-between, the buffer. You don't blow everything out of proportion. You kind of let it slide by, because it's almost part of the day sometimes when she thinks she's going to die. Because in Ethel's case, she's very sensitive.
One night I woke up and I thought, I want to die so that I will suffer and reborn. I thought I was going to die that night. And I had lived a Christian life and had done the very best I do. I went back over my life and tried to think if there's anybody else I should have forgiven or anything. But when I always came back to that, I will not let anything ruin my life. That's the way I feel now.
Is there anything I can get you, Ethel? I was talking, I bet you're all talked out.
Drink a water.
Some water.
Ethel taught me a great deal about
how to approach an older person's world. Because she was so clear about how she wanted things done, she taught me that whether people acknowledge that or not, they do have their preferences. And that the first thing that you have to do is get to know a person and learn what their world is. The things that they've loved, the things that nourish them, the things that make them feel good about who they are and make them feel that they're continuing their life, and then supporting and encouraging that.
I think that there are kind of two sides of who you are here. There's a side of rushing around, and then you switch gears, and that's when you're with Ethel, and you slow down. The nicest part about it is that Ethel is aware of it, and so she will sit and watch you race around, and then come back to her to slow down. And she can laugh about that with you, and then she'll just say, "Oh, I'm so tired from all of that." But that's a big part, I think, of starting here is getting Ethel's pace and your pace and what needs to get done, and prioritizing, the phone's not important, trying things that would seem important in your own house that aren't so important here.
I think that the point about slowing down with Ethel is a really important one.
1, 2, 3. Up goes she. That's right. See, I told you before.
Yes, you are.
That actually, when you enter an old person's world, particularly someone who's dying, with their physical situation limits their speed, and they can only move so fast. And for Ethel to move from her chair to the couch is a good 5-minute procedure. And so the sense of being there with her through that. And this is actually a way of working with the other thing that Heloise was talking about, which is her panic. Her moments of panic when she really doesn't know what's going to happen and she's afraid. Going back to the daily routine is a way of settling her down and a way of enabling her to go on and get through that stage of panic. It's interesting that this has always been her way, that each time of day a different thing happens. It used to be that she would have her devotions in the morning at 9, and then she would have her cup of spoon juice, and you could touch a clock by Ethel completely. And what that enabled her to do, actually, was maintain herself at home, even though she was quite frail with very little assistance, because she had a routine. And it's been a great source of strength for her, and we're seeing now that it continues to be.
I see what they do, of course, and their attitude toward me, and I think it's partly sympathy for me. Things couldn't be better. They'll just do anything to help me. And so getting along with them real well.
The point isn't to give her an answer about what death is about, and you may have your ideas, but that's not the point for her. The point is to enable her to give her the space to ponder that question and resolve it for herself in her own way, to draw her out on what she thinks, and to let her express her point of view and evolve her point of view. It's like a riddle that she's working with right now.
I think she's doing a lot of thinking at night time. She'll wake up and she says, "Well, I've been out wandering around." And she doesn't know where she is. She thinks she's in a different bed, out in the living room. Any place is about the other end of the bed. So she just gets lost. She's in such a dream state. It's so part of her reality at the moment, where she has a hard time getting back to this reality.
But she does keep coming back, though.
She does keep coming back.
Well, there'll be a time when she doesn't come back. And, she might slip into coma, or she might die in her sleep. It's hard to say how someone is going to die. But we have to be able to let go of her, too, and not always want to pull her back. Being at home in this setting, particularly for someone of her age, where at 88, death is not an emergency. That it's great that she can have the luxury of doing this thoroughly and properly, and I think she very much is. I guess, the only other thing that I really want to tell you is how much I love Ethel, that she's a tremendously important person to me.
I think I've told her time and again that I have the best girl in the world. that are so kind and patient with me, and they put up with so much, and I love them so much, and I will always remember them and thank them for it. To come at a time like this. How long have we known each other, Ricky?
About 4 years.
Did you get to see this time?
Yes, I visited with her. We didn't have a chance to have lunch, but we did talk, and it's always like meeting a very old friend. I think it's a way that what you're going through, the way that you've lived your life, and the way that you've grown old, and the way that you're facing your death, all of those things are tremendous gifts for other people. You know, that so many, I was talking to the girls, and they were saying that they'd never had this chance to be with their own grandmother or some member of their own family, and it's such a gift to them as well. Do you remember that description you wrote of how you want your funeral with the hymns and...
Oh, I'm so glad you mentioned that. I have a completely different plan there.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Well, we should get taken care of that.
I'll tell you why. Because Mary telephoned. She says they're opening a new cemetery here, and they want so families can come and sit and have picnics and have nothing about the grave except in just a black place with the name. And so I've been so afraid I'd forget to tell you that. It's out our way.
Is that what you're wanting now?
Yes.
For yourself?
Yes.
What about in the... I'm going to have to dig out the piece of paper, but it had the list of hymns that you liked, that you wanted sung, and the readings that you wanted from the Bible. And has that changed for you, or is that pretty much the way you wanted it?
I've been thinking about it, and I have some very dear friends from our so I think I'll talk it over with her.
That sounds good.
See what I can say.
That's a good idea. Well, if I can help you in any way with that, in terms of writing it down or whatever you might need, I'd be glad to do that.
I know you would, dear. So I can depend on you.
Do you like to have a lot of people in your life right now?
I do. I do. I'm surprised how many friends I have who remember me from years back. They've been visited me recently. And but one of the 7 years after he had been in my class came Christmas Eve out of the lake. And he said, I came back to talk about our time. And we just had the best time.
Hey, Ethel.
Hello?
How are you? Fine. I don't know if you remember me. Do you remember me?
You look like you're someone I wish I did know. We can finally get by. I don't expect to live much longer. I woke up one day and I thought, well, I'm going to die today. And oh, how bad I'll be because I won't have to suffer this terrible pain. And I fully expected to.
I see you, old woman. In your eyes I read the story of the years, of the pain, of the sweet delight. I see the you that was, and the you that is. I see you young and vigorous, full of family and love, the busyness of baking, soothing, training and cleaning, when your stairs were lined with skates and books and spring green sweaters. But now you are old, your house is empty. I see you, old woman, but even as I look, your face turns into my own. Standing at opposite ends of the same long corridor, we reflect the image of one another. I cherish you, old woman, and as I do, I honor my infants and those to come.